Hello. Good morning. Isn't that cute? Michelle and I found it the other day. I was like, we need something about the talk title for today and healing our planet. And I was just like, well, what could there be? And so we were looking for all kinds of images, and we came across this one. It's like, oh, that's so cute. It's got a little face. So good to be with you. So today, this whole year here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we've been working with the theme of spirituality in action, yes? And one of the things that we know here and we affirm here is we know and affirm our focus statement, yes? Because our focus statement is also a way that we are living our spirituality in action. So why don't we start with our focus statement, shall we? All right, there we go. Okay, so here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. I believe you today. That's awesome. Great job. Yes. Some days it's kind of like, we embolden people. But today, it was, all the V's were there, so thank you. It felt voluptuous this morning, so. Fantastic. So we have been working with the idea of spirituality in action, meaning that we are not just sitting on our meditation cushions and not just sitting in our prayer chambers, though those things are absolutely vital and necessary too, but that we're taking this out into the world, that we're taking our spirituality out into the world and living from that place. And so that's really what we're talking about here today. And this month's theme is ensuring stewardship of the planet. And that is based on the 10 prophetic justice principles by Dr. James Forbes. And you'll find that in your Connect magazine on page 18. Yes, Shawnee's waving her Connect magazine. So if you did not get one, there are some in the bookstore still available for you as well. So it is ensuring the planet. And today we are talking about healing our planet. Okay? All right. That's good. So, healing our planet. One of the things that we affirm here, one of the things that we teach here at Centers for Spiritual Living, one of the things that Dr. Ernest Holmes said is that there is nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed. There is nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed. And when we look at that statement, when we first hear that statement, it's like, there's nothing to be healed, just truth to be revealed. Well, I have a tummy ache, and I would really like that to be healed, right? Or I have a cut on my finger, I'd really like that to be healed. Or I'm experiencing a disease, and I would really like for that to be healed. I would really prefer for that to be healed. And if you're saying that there's nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed, then are you denying the presence of the disease or the malady or the cut or the boo-boo, right? Are you just denying it? So are you saying that it doesn't exist? No, that's not what we're saying. We recognize that which is going on, that which we are experiencing in this form, in this lifetime, is happening and is occurring, but what we also recognize is that what is really being called forth in this moment is the truth to be revealed, and that truth is your wholeness. That truth is your perfection. That truth is that there is just this one life, living, moving, breathing, and having its being in, through, and as you and all of creation itself. And so, therefore, despite appearances to the contrary, there is that which is within us. Wow, that was a mouthful. That which is within us that is absolutely whole and perfect. That is absolutely divine in nature. That has never been touched by disease. That has never been touched by disorder. That has never been touched by any appearance, because it is truly all that there is. It is the divine within each one of us. So therefore, it is whole, holy, perfect, and complete. And sometimes we get confused with the idea of wanting a healing versus wanting a cure. A healing and a cure are two different things. A healing can happen and we still experience physical trauma, physical difficulty. A healing can happen and we still pass away. But it does not mean that a healing has not occurred. I think of my dear friend Moses, who experienced a debilitating disease at age 33. And it left him unable to move his body. He could not even lift his head. And through this whole process of his experience of his physical decline, what was occurring was a spiritual healing. What was occurring was a healing within his family. What was occurring was a strengthening and a lifting and a changing and an evolving. And he did pass away. And so while he was not cured of his dis-ease, absolutely a healing took place. And so his life and his light and his memory continue to live on. And the work that he came here to do in the world continues to live on and continues to move and uplift. So when we say that there is nothing to be healed, only the truth to be revealed, it is through the revealing of the truth, it is through the revealing of his own divinity that a healing then occurred. Rather than focusing on the healing, there was a focus on the revealing of truth itself, of life itself. That there is just this one love, this one life. So if we look at healing our planet, then, can we not apply the same principle? Principle is principle, yes? So if we apply the same principle to our planet itself, and we recognize that all of creation is the divine made manifest, that which the divine did not make was never ever made, then the planet itself, our earth itself, is also a manifestation, an impartation, an emanation of the one life, an emanation of the divine itself. That we are living on holy ground, right? The place upon which I walk, the place upon which I stand is holy ground. So therefore, all of life, the entire planet itself, is whole, perfect, and complete. That is its true nature. That is the true nature of the planet. That is true nature of life itself. So, therefore, there may be things going on that we wish to have healed, but the way we have to approach this, or the way we are called to approach the climate change and the climate action, the way we are called to approach issues in our world, is we're called to do it from a place of spiritual groundedness, of spiritual truth, of being rooted right in knowing that there is only this one life, and that there is always divine right order and divine right action at work. And what we also get to know is that when there is divine right action and divine right order at work, that while it is the divine work itself, it is our hands that must do that work. Let me say that again. While it is Spirit's work, while it is the divine work, it is our hands that must do that work. That we are called to action in our lives. That Spirit only moves through us out into the world. We are here to be the divine instrument for Spirit itself, to do the great works, to fulfill the divine right action, to fulfill the divine right order. We are the vessels, we are the outlet and the inlet for Spirit itself. Our hands, our hearts, our bodies, our souls. It's what we've come here to be and do, is to be a greater expression of the one life itself, so that consciousness may be conscious of itself, And the only way it can be conscious of itself is when it's conscious of itself through its creation. Creator and creation are one. So what is ours to do? I've been asking you this question all month long. I've been inviting you to think about what it is that you can do to make a difference on the planet, to make a difference in the healing or the revealing of truth on the planet. We don't, as I said at the beginning, we don't just treat, we also have to move our feet. We don't just pray, we don't just sit on our meditation cushions. We go there first to discern what is ours to do, and then we take action from that place. Correct? Yes. So if we are going to walk our walk, especially around climate change and climate action, if we're going to walk our walk around this issue, first we must educate ourselves. We must educate ourselves as to eco-friendly practices, and we must educate ourselves as to the facts that are occurring, the facts that are real and tangible about climate change. We must educate. We must learn. We must do research. We must talk to others. We must grow and develop, and so that we have a better understanding of exactly what it is that is going on. And getting real facts, not fake news. Right? When Greta Thunberg, she's the young woman from Sweden, the student from Sweden, who started the climate strike, right, or the school strike for climate. When she was speaking in front of the in front of Congress, she said, "Don't believe me. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to believe the scientists. I'm asking you to believe the facts." And later, when she was asked on Trevor Noah, on Comedy Central, she was on there, The Daily Show, Trevor asked her, "What's the difference do you notice between when you talk about these things in Sweden or Europe and when you talk about these things in the United States?" And she said, "In the United States, there is a tendency to talk about the issue of whether you believe in climate change or don't believe in climate change. And in Europe and in Sweden, we talk about the facts of climate change." But there's a big difference there that she was noticing. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to educate ourselves. We need to learn more about what's really going on. The second thing we need to do is hold ourselves and each other accountable. What do we talk about here with responsibility? That we are how much? 100% responsible for our lives. So if we're 100% responsible for our lives, then we also get to take accountability for our lives. We get to take accountability for our actions. We get to pay attention to what we are doing and how we are moving in the world, how we are walking in the world, what we are doing, how we are contributing to climate change on the planet, or how we are also contributing to minimizing the effect of climate change. What are we willing to do by taking responsibility for ourselves, by taking accountability, and then holding others accountable? Holding our elected officials accountable, holding big business accountable. We educate ourselves, and then we have accountability. The third thing is respect. Respect for one another and respect for our planet, respect for Mother Earth. So what are some of the ways that we can show respect to Mother Earth, to Gaia, to our beautiful blue planet? 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. Sound familiar? Right? We can reduce what we use. We can reuse things. We can upcycle. And then we can also recycle when it comes to trash. We can plant trees. We can turn to wind energy or renewable resources of energy rather than relying on fossil fuels. We can shop at thrift stores. We can use other forms of transportation. Greta used a non-emissions sailboat to come from Sweden to New York. took a while, but she sailed from Sweden to New York in order to be in New York for the climate summit that's happening. Right? Amazing. There's the R, right? There's the R of respect. Then there's the T for tenacity and tenderness. That we must be tenacious, that we have to have a tenacity for this, that we have to keep going in spite of fatigue, in spite of, oh, I feel so tired today, I don't want to recycle today, about doing it and staying on point and being tenacious and having the tenacity to continue to move forward with the changes that we are willing to make. And we have to have a tenderness about it too. We have to have that compassion, and compassion for ourselves when it's like, today I didn't do it. And I'm going to be compassionate with myself today. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and recognize that I get to start all over again. So that we are compassionate with one another, that we are tender with one another, and that we are tender with ourselves as we maintain that tenacity. And then there's H for holy. When we recognize that everything is holy, that there is only one, and we recognize our own divinity, then we begin to see the divinity in one another. We begin to see the sacredness in one another. We begin to see the peace in one another. And when we can see that sacred, holy divinity within one another, then how do you think we respond and we react and we interact with one another? We interact from that place of love. We interact from that place of compassion. And when we are interacting with this, then we recognize that the whole earth is whole and holy. And so there's more compassion with our interactions with animals. There's more compassion with our interaction with plants. There's more compassion with our interaction with organizations and with humanity itself. So if you've been paying attention, those 5 steps of ways that we can begin to take action, spell out earth. Education, educate ourselves. Accountability, hold ourselves accountable. Respect each other, respect the earth. Reduce, reuse, recycle, the ways that we can do things. T, tenacious, tenacity, and tenderness. And H, holy, spells out earth. And so here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we affirm, right? It's the high vision of all Centers for Spiritual Living to create a world that works for everyone in all of creation, yes? To create a world that works for everyone in all of creation. So if we are going to create a world that works for everyone in all of creation, we must be willing to do the work ourselves. We can't say, oh, you create a world that works for everyone in all of creation. Me? I'm going to sit back and, continue my old ways, my old patterns. Because what does that get us? More of the same, right? It's too late for more of the same. We're at 0 hour. We can no longer continue to abuse and use resources the way we have. This weekend was a beautiful weekend. On Friday, there were several climate strikes around the country, and there was one in Redlands, and there was also one in San Bernardino. Did anybody participate in any of those two? Either of those two? And then yesterday here in Riverside, we had the UN International Day of Peace, and the focus there was climate action for peace. Now I know that there were people in here who were there, so I'll go ahead and raise your hands. So yes, beautiful, thank you. And so this was our sign that we had yesterday: one people, one planet, and one family. So that's why it's here today. Because it was an opportunity for us to step up and step out and take action locally. Because it's about a movement locally. We hear often that think globally and act locally. And there's a phrase now, or a word now that's been changed, or that's kind of combines those as glocally. There's actually an organization in town that's called Glocally Connected. But it's glocally, being global. Thinking global and acting local. And so here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, as the weeks continue to unfold and as the months continue to unfold and as the year continues to unfold, we've already started reducing. We've already started reusing, and we've definitely started recycling. One of the ways that we've reduced is you have your Connect magazine. Rather than a weekly publication, a weekly piece of paper that I don't know what you do with it. Right, last year and years in past, I have no idea what you did with those because they certainly weren't getting read. But we moved this year to our Connect magazine, which provides you with all the information for 2 months in a row. And what I do know is that they are getting read. And so it's reduced our usage of paper, it's reduced our usage of print, it's reduced our usage of electricity, it's reduced our usage of manpower and time. So it's one way that we have made a difference. Another project that's coming up is that grassy area out front over there on Ridge Road. There is discussion about coming together as a community to decide what we want to do about that grass. Because right now it's, Wendy's like, get it out of there. And I know like Dinah's like, rip it out. And a few other like, rah, right? But then what are we going to replace it with to make it beautiful? So that we are creating a more sustainable landscape that's beautiful, but also isn't requiring as much water, like our $1,200 electric water bill this month, right? There's opportunities to change the lighting through programs through Riverside Public Utilities, as well as one of our local lighting vendors to change all of our fluorescents that were originally T12 that are energy suckers to T8, so which are much more energy efficient. So there are programs and ideas that are coming forth, and there's some other ideas and programs that are coming forth through our Green Living Group. So I want to invite Jocelyn, now don't trip, right? So I want to invite Jocelyn Williams to come forward to share with you some of the ideas and the plans that our Green Living Group has in store for the community. So Jocelyn, come on up.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jocelyn. I'm the president of the newly formed Green Living Group, which is our group focused here at RCSL on making us a little bit more ecologically sustainable here in the church and in our community as well. So for those of you who do know me, hey, what's up? Before I tell you more about the Green Living Group, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself and a realization I had this week in regards to healing our planet. So I've been coming to this specific center for about 2 to 3 years now, but I grew up into CSL philosophy and lifestyle. And I also grew up camping, so that gave me a great appreciation for the outdoors at a very young age. Sitting alone in the hallway of my school last week, I was absent-mindedly scratching my arm, like, what am I going to say on Sunday? and then I looked at my arm and I thought, why don't you just heal? And of course, immediately after thinking that, it's like, well, I put those there. So, but I think a lot of people are self-thwarting in this way, especially with our earth. You see trash roll down the streets and into our beautiful natural areas, or even filling a car with gasoline. And we can see that those who approach mental illness, when they approach it by ignoring their problems that are not making them live their happiest life, or they get angry with themselves for not moving forward, it's really not productive in healing. So why do we ignore the warning signs that the earth gives us? Or why do we get angry at those who ignore it? If there's only one life and that life is divine, and it's a part of all things on this earth and elsewhere, is it really productive to get angry and try to encourage environmental activism through fear and anger? As a CSL person, it is difficult for me to not get caught in the anger and fear that is so often in the environmentalist community. And I understand it, and it's so, so valid. But beloveds working in the fossil fuel industry, illegal wildlife trade, and many other ecologically unsound industries are just humans who are trying to find happiness, contentment, or safety in a way that we know is misaligned with what the earth has been needing for a long time now. Just like those who find comfort in the profit of oil drilling, they find temporary comfort in those actions. And perhaps they even know this is not a long-term solution, but they're not quite ready to let go of that. A quote from a favorite book of mine, A Primer of Ecological Principles, says this: "The most precious natural resource is life, starting with human life and including the equally important diversity of all living things on this planet. Beloveds who are not good stewards of this planet have forgotten that humankind is not apart from the earth, but it is a part of the earth. When we put our planet's health first, or our long-term health first, and place unhealthy short-term comforts second, only then have we prioritized the healing of the human race and of life itself." The Green Living Group hopes to move our center and our community into better alignment with this planet. So far, we plan to replace the water fountain in the lobby with a water fountain, water bottle refill hybrid station. So that's cool, I think anyway. And thanks. And we also are going to create a wash station with instructions in Johnson Hall, so everyone can bring reusable plates or utensils, and so you have the option of washing them before you leave church and go home after lunch. And so you may be wondering, well, Jocelyn, where could I get a convenient and charming set of tableware for a low price, and with a handsome bag to match? Well, oh my gosh, I mean, manifestation works wonders, guys, so. The Green Living Group has been working together to make these kind of bags, and so we have other patterns as well as these, so yay. And this one it has a set of a cup, fork, knife, and spoon, and a plate in it, and you can put extra things in it. As you can see, it's quite roomy, so if you wanted to put a coffee mug or additional utensils or a cloth napkin in, they would fit. And if it seems too roomy for you, we have some smaller sizes as well. The pricing is not 100% determined yet, but they will be quite inexpensive since our goal is not to make a bunch of money and get stupid rich over this. And the goal is just to reduce the impact of the waste that we have from paper plates and plastic utensils at our center, get more people using reusable things. And that ends up being cheaper for the center in the long run too. And so we will start the sales in the wash station next week on the 29th. So if you'd like to buy, we'll be there, hanging out, be like, hey, come get a bag. And if you'd like to participate in our activities or our plans for the Green Living Group, you can talk to me after service, or you can request to join our Facebook group, which is called RCSL Green Living with a little sprout emoji at the end. And so that's all I have today. Thank you all so much for your time, and have a beautiful rest of your morning.
I love it when our young people are leading the way, right? Yeah. Because Jocelyn and her brother Jared and some others in our community are going to be the ones that are experiencing it more than any of the rest of us, right? So how important it is to listen to our young people, to follow their lead, so that we can leave this planet when it is our time to leave, that we can leave it as healthy and as wonderful as absolutely possible. So I have a little activity quickly for us to do. Yesterday at the event that we were at with the International Day of Peace, the Norte Vista High School group that was there led us all in something called Common Ground. It was a Common Ground activity, and where we all kind of stood in a circle, and then they said, if you blah blah, then I invite you to step into Common Ground, and then we would all step into the circle. Well, the pews aren't movable, so we're not going to step into the circle or anything like that. I'm just going to invite you to raise your hand instead. Is that okay? All right, but it's still common ground. So we had to adapt for our space this morning. So the idea here is I had been asking you all month long, to think about what it is that you personally can do. Because a movement starts with each one of us. That each one of us has the opportunity to move. That's what makes Greta so amazing, and that's what makes Jocelyn so amazing, is the willingness to move. To recognize something and then to begin to take action, to move. And what I know about our community here is that we are a community of movers. And we're a community of shakers. And that does not mean shakers and quakers, and that does not mean moving companies or anything like that, right? You know, though I think there's been some U-Hauls, but at any rate. But that our community, especially more so, we continue to move out into the world, so we continue the movement. And what we recognize is that each one of us is a mover. Each one of us is a shaker. Each one of us is taking action. And what I also know is that each one of us can also do more. Yes? All right. So, common ground. So, I invite you to raise your hand into the common ground if you bring your own bags when you go shopping. Ooh, look at that. Nice. I invite you to step into the common ground if you refuse plastic straws on a regular basis. All right. Common ground if you have Energy Star rated appliances at home. Nice. Common ground if you regularly shop vintage thrift stores, secondhand stores, and yard sales. Oh. Common ground if you maintain your cars with regular maintenance and tune-ups. Nice. Common ground if you drive low-emission vehicles. All right. Common ground if you drive vehicles that get over 35 miles per gallon. Step into the common ground if you air dry your hair. Yeah. You're not using the blower dryer. Maybe occasionally. Step into common ground if you use eco-friendly, biodegradable soaps and cleaning supplies. Nice. Step into common ground if you have not gotten a new cell phone in the last 3 years. Nice. Step into common ground if you regularly purchase local fruits and vegetables. Beautiful. Local does not mean Lucky, all right? Or Ralph's. There is no Lucky anymore, right? Ralph's. It doesn't mean Alpha Beta either, so there you go. Step into common ground if you eat a predominantly vegetarian or vegan diet. Beautiful. Step into common ground if you regularly take public transportation or ride a bike. Nice. Step into common ground if you use refillable water bottles. Beautiful. Step into common ground if you use glass food storage containers rather than plastic ones. And step into common ground if you are willing to do your part to heal the planet. Beautiful. Thank you. Namaste. We're already doing a lot. We can still do more. And for now, we're going to enter into prayer. So I invite our practitioners and our core council to please stand and surround the sanctuary, because all action takes place first in consciousness. It all arises from consciousness. We practice spiritually motivated social engagement here. So every action that we take, we first go to prayer, we first go into meditation, and then allow that which is revealed to reveal itself, and then we take action upon that. That's what we've been talking about today. So All of the practitioners you see and core council members you see standing around the sanctuary today, they are always in prayer for you. They hold this community high and lift this community high in prayer each day of the week. And if you have a specific prayer request, we invite you to fill out the paper on the back of your pew there, or in the seat pocket in front of you, like I like to say, and then you can deposit it in the prayer box in the lobby, and those will be lifted in prayer all week long. So let's just come together in consciousness in this moment. I recognize that there is one power, one presence, one infinite, eternal being that lives, moves, breathes, and has its being in, through, and as all of creation. For truly there is only this one life, and that which this one life did not create was never ever created. So I know that all of life, all of creation itself, is the divine made manifest. Is the emanation and impartation of consciousness of this one divine life. This one love, this one peace, this one power. And so therefore it is the who of who I am, that right where I am is the power and the presence of the divine. Right where I am is the power and the presence of God. It is truly the who of who I am, and the place upon which I stand is holy ground. I am one with it, one with this eternal life, this eternal beingness. I am one with peace and harmony and joy and divine right order and divine right action. This is the truth of my life, and as I know that this is the truth of my life, I know it is the truth of all life. I know it is the truth of the life of every individual here in this room, and all of life on the planet and of the planet itself. That truly we are all one, siblings in this one life, divine facets of this one life, individualized, beautiful, perfect, whole, and complete expressions of this one life. And so I speak my word here and now for our beloved community and for our beloved earth. I know that our community steps forward in action, that this community lives its spirituality in action, that we are truly movers and shakers, that we do not just sit, but that we also get up and we walk out these doors and we move our feet. That we take action out into the world, doing our part because we are accountable. We are an integral part of the whole, and what we do matters. What we do makes a difference. How we think, how we feel, how we behave, how we interact has an impact on the larger whole. There's a ripple effect. And so I know that that which we do is good. Because first we are centered in spirit, centered in the one. And while it is Spirit's work, it is our hands. And so we do the work with love, we do the work with intention, we do the work in peace, in joy, and harmony. And truly we reveal the truth. And in this revealing, a healing takes place naturally. We don't need to cause it to happen. It just happens. And so I give thanks for this truth here this day. I give thanks for the hands of each individual here. I give thanks for the hands of our community. I give thanks for the hands of 7.5 billion people on planet Earth. For truly, I call forward and awaken that divine within each one, knowing that these are the hands of God. These are the hearts of God. These are the souls of God. In coherence, in alignment, in perfect harmony and balance. And I know that our earth is maintained and sustained beautifully, perfectly, and wholly. And I give thanks for this. I release this word knowing it is done. I let it be, and so it is.